Many agreements and plans have been made at the BRICS 2024 summit, too many to cover in a single video. One of the most important decisions is a financial proposal that has gotten a lot of attention, creating a unified depository and clearing system for BRICS countries. This system could be a game changer, letting BRICS nations trade without going through Western financial networks. Before getting into the specifics of this exciting development, it's important to understand why it's happening from both an economic and a geopolitical point of view. Allow us to begin. The push for options to financial systems controlled by the West, such as SWIFT Euro Clean and Clear Stream, is caused by the following main things: geopolitical conflicts and Western sanctions. One of the main reasons the BRICS looked into other financial systems was because of Western penalties, especially against Russia. After Russia took over Crimea in 2014 and started fighting with Ukraine in 2022, the US and the EU put a lot of economic sanctions on the country. These included cutting Russia off from the SWIFT network and freezing Russian assets held in international depositories like Euroclear. These sanctions made it very hard for Russia to do international financial transactions, which made the country look for new ways to get around the Western-dominated financial order. Iran, which is another country that is hit hard by Western sanctions, also has trouble getting into global financial markets. Russia and Iran both see building an independent financial system inside BRICS as a way to get around our and Europe's power over the global financial infrastructure and achieve their goal of financial autonomy. The BRICS nations, especially China and Russia, have long been worried about the dollar's dominance in international trade and finance. They say that the current global financial architecture, which is based on institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, and payment systems controlled by Western powers, often leaves emerging economies open to financial problems and sanctions from Western powers. BRICS countries want to take back control of their finances and become less reliant on the US dollar by building their own payment systems and banking networks. This has led to projects like China's cross-border payment system, which is an option to SWIFT and lets China settle international payments in its own currency. The UN's broader BRICS agenda fits with this goal of shifting global financial flows away from the economic growth and trade interests of the West. Some of the world's biggest and fastest-growing economies are in BRICS countries. Together, they are home to more than 40% of the world's people and make up about a quarter of the world's GDP. As their economies grow, so does their impact on the world economy. More and more, these countries are looking for ways to make it easier for each other to trade and spend by coming up with new financial systems. BRICS wants to improve trade and investment within the group without using Western financial middlemen. For example, trade between Russia and China and other BRICS members is happening more and more in their own national currencies. Getting around the US dollar, a single method for clearing and storing bricks and mortar, could make these deals easier. Lowering the costs and risks connected to changing money and using Western banking networks. World affairs are becoming more and more multipolar. The global political scene is shifting towards a more multipolar world where power is shared among many global and regional players instead of being dominated by the West. This change has given countries like China and Russia the confidence to challenge the current US-led international order. The BRICS nations, which have very different political systems and economic models, see this trend as a chance to change global governance, especially in trade, finance, and development. BRICS has long pushed for changes to be made to global organizations like the UN and the IMF so that they better represent the needs of developing countries. The push for separate financial systems is part of a bigger goal to make the world's economies more fair so that the West doesn't have too much power over them. Improvements in technology. Financial technologies like blockchain and distributed ledgers are becoming more popular. This means that countries can now build their own safe, open, and decentralized financial systems. These technologies are being used by Russia in its plan for a BRICS bank and payment system based on distributed ledger technology. Brick-and-mortar countries can make systems that are not only immune to bans from other countries but also make it easier to do business across borders. Let's stop for a moment. Could you help us? If you like our content, please click the like button and let us know what you think in the comments. Your participation helps us grow, so thank you. Along with other groups like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Belt and Road Initiative, BRICS provides a way for countries in the global south to work together more closely on politics and the economy by setting up their own financial networks. BRICS countries can make trade with other developing countries easier and safer, which increases their combined bargaining power on the world stage. Threats to the dominance of the US dollar. One of the main goals of the BRICS countries, especially China and Russia, is to depend less on the US dollar for trade and banking around the world. Because the dollar is used in most deals around the world, the US has a lot of power to impose penalties and manage money flows by encouraging the use of national currencies in trade and building up other financial systems. BRICS wants to weaken the US dollar's position as the world's most important currency. This will make it harder for the US to put financial pressure on other countries. New method for clearing BRICS funds. A person familiar with the subject who asked to remain anonymous because the talks were private said that Russia wants to set up a uniform depository and clearing system for the BRICS countries in order to improve their financial cooperation without relying on Western institutions. Russia's proposal, called BRICS Clear, was presented at the BRICS summit in Kazan. The goal is to create an alternative to Euroclear and Clearstream that would allow seamless cross-border securities transactions between BRICS members. The Russian Finance Ministry has not commented on the proposal, but experts such as Oleg Vian, a former senior official at the Bank of Russia, have voiced doubts. Vugin said that most BRICS countries have strong economic ties with the West and are not likely to cut ties by joining a unified depository system. It is still not clear how BRICS Clear would work, but Russian Finance Minister Anton Silvanov said in a pre-summit interview that it would use distributed ledger technology. DLT, or distributed ledger technology, is a type of digital system that keeps track of transactions and data across many places or people in a network, instead of depending on a central authority. This is different from traditional databases, which are run by a single body. As a decentralized system, the ledger DT works with each user or node having a copy of the whole ledger. Any changes to the ledger are made through a consensus process that makes sure everyone agrees with the changes. Decentralization is one of the best things about DLT because it gets rid of the need for a central governing body. This makes the system more reliable because it doesn't depend on a single point of control. DT also ensures immutability, which means that once data is recorded on the ledger, it is very hard to change or delete, which makes the information safer and more reliable. The system is also transparent because anyone can access and see the transaction history, which encourages accountability. Cryptographic methods add to the security by keeping the data safe from changes and people who aren't supposed to see it. DLT works with an agreement system, in which everyone agrees on any changes to proof of work, proof of stake, and Byzantine fault tolerance are some of the ways that different ledger systems do this. It depends on the application of the technology. As everyone knows, blockchain is the most famous type of DLT. In this type, transactions are organized into blocks that are linked together in a chronological chain. Other types, like directed a CLLCC graph or DAG, allow for nonlinear recording, confirming transactions by referencing earlier ones without the need for blocks. In the world of cryptocurrencies, DLT has a lot of useful uses across many industries. It is what makes decentralized digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum possible. It also lets you use smart contracts, which are agreements that automatically carry out their rules because they are built into the ledger. DLT is useful for managing the supply chain because it makes things more open and lets you keep track of goods as they move through it. In the financial sector, it can make it easier for payment systems to settle and for people to send money across borders. This is why companies like BRICS are looking into DLT as an alternative to the traditional Western-dominated financial networks. BRICS. According to the unnamed source, central bank officials will likely continue to talk about the planned payment system at a meeting in December. However, integrating the system will be very hard because member countries have different rules and regulations. It might be possible to achieve partial union, which could lead to 5 to 7% more trade between BRICS nations. The source said that was all there was to this film. Thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate you being here with us today. If our content affected you or inspired you, please show your support by liking it and following to stay in touch with our community.